For your patience, this is the statement. This one is from the Ghana Electrical Contractors Association. It's dated the 13th of May 2024. Dear Sir, petition for review of policies on rechargeable jobs. Access to electricity is key to the socio-economic development of every country. Ghana's ranking on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index as of 2019 was 118 out of 190 countries. Ghana's performance was as a result of several factors, including challenges in access to electricity connection. In the past few years, access to electricity has become very expensive, especially for premises that require a dedicated transformer installation. We have found the reason to be as a result of the following policies being implemented by your good office. 1. High cost of capital contributions required from customers. 2. Demand for 10,000 Ghana cedis unrefundable upfront payment for service applicants. 3. Not allowing customers to purchase materials from suppliers of their choice. Increase material prices beyond market prices. It is important to state that the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, also provides similar services to customers at a far lower rate and affords them the opportunity to procure their own materials. There is no doubt that these policies have proven to be inimical to ECG's own drive to increase revenue and government's industrialization agenda. As a matter of urgency, we call on you to suspend the policy and call an emergency stakeholder engagement to find ways to address the issue. This, we are confident, will ease the burden on prospective investors and help improve your bottom line and reduce the teething unemployment in the country. And this is signed by Mr. Awal Sakib Mohammed, President of GECA.
And it's copied to the Minister of Energy, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Executive Secretary of the Energy Commission, the Executive Director of the PURC, Executive Secretary, Energy Commission, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on Mines and Energy and Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade and Industry. Quite a tall list there of interested parties. Well, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Now, you are complaining about, one, the customers being required to contribute so that they can get power in their homes or their offices or wherever it is. First, tell us, how widespread is this problem?
Okay, thank you very much and good morning to our listeners. So today, if you apply for, there are different categories of premises.
Right.
Premises that for the share of your load, the share size of your load, you may require what we call a dedicated transformer.
Right.
Or if you have a premises that require a very good power quality, you may require your own transformer. So such premises, if you apply with ECG for such service, ECG will now come to the premises to assess it. And even before they embark on that journey to visit your premises, they charge you a 10,000 cedis non-refundable.
What?
Now, yes.
To do what?
To come and assess the premises and establish whether you need this size of transformer or that size of transformer.
Can we call it assessment fee?
Assessment fee. Now.
Or viewing fee. You know, the agents who give off what do you call it? Their places for accommodation.
That's right.
Rent
right.
agents, right?
Yeah.
They call it walking fee, viewing fee.
That's right.
That's what ECG is doing.
Yeah,
viewing fee.
So in
10,000.
In their cost build-up, they capture it as preliminaries. So mostly it's even more than that. So then if you agree or if you are ready to pay, then you pay less the 10,000 cedis. We find that to be worrying because you see, when they have come to do all the assessment, and in some cases they won't allow you to even buy the materials. They will bill you and let you pay for everything. We think that in a normal environment, ECG should be the one providing you that service. They provide you with the network and bill you, and then you use it and pay. But customers have taken, granted that ECG does not have the capacity, and so customers have taken upon themselves to invest in that regard. Now, when they've done all the assessment, there are some components that we find to be worrying. That is some of the components that is making the total cost
expensive.
very expensive. One of them is what they call 3.5 of the total material cost, which they call it preliminaries. There's another cost of 15%, which they call company charges.
Right.
It's supposed to be capital contribution of the customer to ECG. And there's also another 10% of what they call the contingency. If truly you've charged me 10,000 cedis and visited my premises and did a due diligence, why should you charge me so much for contingency? Contingency is basically say that unforeseen circumstances.
But this one you are sure.
You're
So
sure.
you took money from me to come and ascertain whether my premises is fit for purpose. And then you have come to do the work. And then you are charging me extra for Jara.
Actually, even develop drawing. You use it when you develop the kind of services ECG, the contingencies are not much because they are physical. I mean, transformer is transformer.
Right.
An RMU is an RMU. You know how much oil the RMU will require. If it is a trench, you've taken the distances and all that. Then, so why do you charge 10%? And if you look at some of their cost builder, some of the contingency goes as high as 50,000 plus. It depends on the cost of the material. So this your premises today. If God forbid, if your transformer develops fault and you are to replace the transformer, you will be forced to pay this amount of money because you here reasonably you use around 500 kVA transformer, and that 500 kVA transformer in open market is about $12,500. And then you need another equipment to protect the transformer, which is an RMU, which goes for about $11,000. So these are the key components you need. Now the other items coming like the cabling, the other accessories and all that. When you have finished purchasing all this, for a standard 500 kVA transformer, the total cost including VAT that ECG will require you to pay amounts to around 131,000 cedis.
Correct.
Yes. And so there are instances where people have started projects, they didn't expect to pay this much. They are hit with this and then they have to just abandon the project and leave. People have had to suspend. Imagine someone who has gone for loan, put up a factory that he was going to produce to be able to pay the loan. He gets to the power acquisition stage and is hit with this huge sum of money, unplanned most of the time. Because today, if you want to know how much it will cost you to even pay for a particular size of transformer, you don't know. Even ECG engineers, you need to give them the detail for them to feed it into some system and all that.
So you end up doing the work.
You end up doing the work only to be hit at the final stage. You'll be hit with certain an unexpected amount of money, and then it throws all your budgeting off gear. So it goes to say that when people say that it's expensive to do business in Ghana, it's expensive to buy buildings and all that. These are some of the costs. A real estate company, they provide for the distribution network. They buy transformers and everything. When they finish, how do they recoup their investment? They have to add it.
Right. So in the consumer is the one who suffers.
Yes. And one worrying even situation is for real estate companies, for instance, having spent all the money on the investment and provided all the distribution at the next moment, ECG will now connect customers at no cost to. They don't even mind them.
There's an ECG document, right, addressed to the manager of Val Harmonia residence at Laboni, and then we got this document from a while. So first put it up there. Helen, run us through what that document says.
Certainly. And this is from the Electricity Company of Ghana. It's to the manager, Laboni Accra. The address is there. Quotation: installation of a dedicated 500 kV, and there's some other specifications, GMT substation for Val Harmonia residents at Laboni, Makola district. Now we refer to your application on the above subject matter and wish to inform you that the request has been approved for implementation. You are therefore required to pay an amount of 138,793 cedis 60 pesos as your capital contribution, made up of, then the breakdown is as follows: 113,044 cedis 52 pesos as deposit for materials. You're paying 17,974 cedis 8 pesos for VAT, and then you have 2,826 cedis 11 pesos for, help me, gentlemen, please, NIH. Okay, it's not too clear here, but 2,826 cedis 11 pesos for Get Fund. You have in the cost build up 992 cedis 33 pesos for cost of excess power loss, and then 1,130 cedis 45 pesos for COVID 2019 levy. You've already made an upfront payment of 10,000 Ghana cedis, we know as the viewing fee. Hence, you'll be required to pay the difference of 128,793 cedis, 60 pesos. This amount should be paid in the name of ECG at EcoBank. The account is there, and submit the receipt of payment to the undersigned for further action. Please note that the quotation of 128,793 cedis, 60 pesos is valid for 14 calendar days from the date of this letter. Signed, yours faithfully, Bismarck Otu, General Manager, CC, Regional Engineer, Regional Accounts Manager, and Regional Commercial Manager, Makola District.
I see. And this is dated what? In May 2024, right?
I have your February.
Yeah.
5th February.
5th February 2024.
Indeed.
There's another letter. So this is to somebody at Laboni who applied.
Yeah.
And he has to cough out all this amount before anything at all can happen.
Yeah, this is after the client having bought all the equipment, all the materials that is required.
Right.
This is how much he needs to pay to ECG.
120 something.
And the most
thousand.
interesting, this is an apartment. If he's selling them, you can imagine, he
would have to add it on to.
Yeah.
But you raised a question about Netco, and you say Netco provides similar services at a way cheaper rate. How cheap is the definition of cheap
No,
in
you
this
see,
sense?
the truth is that this space needs to be regulated. You can't have an industry where there's no standard rates, especially for such kind of services. So we think that if PURC comes in, how is it that Netco provides similar services? They allow people to buy their own materials. They allow the people pay way less, way cheaper than ECG, what ECG charge. It means that there's no regulation. So we think that PURC needs to step in, right, and come up with mechanisms that regulate all these players for them to be able to charge fairly. It is very, very important that we look at this.
I wanted to find out if Netco also have this sort of viewing fee as well, and if they have it pegged at 10,000 Ghana cedis.
They don't.
They don't.
Even ECG until 3 years ago, they didn't have that.
Okay. Helen, there's another letter from the ECG. It's with their logo colored. It's a colored version of what you read. And it's also addressed to another client, right, who has also been hit with their own, their own bill as it is now. But you raised a question about reforming this. Whose job will it be?
For us, it's obviously PURC. I am aware that PURC is not even in the know that ECG charges such amount of money. I've had a discussion one time, unofficial with the boss of PURC. And PURC is not in the know.
So how is ECG charging what PURC has not approved?
They are doing it at their whim. They are doing it at their whim. Seriously.
You have cried out to them. Have they heard you?
No, the truth is that we are at the point where we think that the only entity or institution that ECG respects is the presidency. ECG doesn't respect anybody. We've cried out to them. Since Budu's that we've met them a number of times. We've met them with the dealers, and people's businesses are suffering. People are just afraid to speak. You understand? So we have taken the steps, met them at the time with the leadership of the Ghana Electrical Dealers Association and even GUTA, and nothing came out of it. And so, what we think is that if indeed the government or the president, for that matter, is very serious about the industrialization agenda, we think that this thing needs to be addressed fast. People are abandoning projects.
I don't understand. People are leaving their projects because they're tired, or there's no money, or what's the case? 500
kVA is one of the smallest you can find. There are 1 MVA, 2 MVAs, and all that. So if you buy a 2 MVA transformer, you can imagine how much you pay. And those are for industries. So somebody is putting up a factory. He gets to the point where he's required to cough out such amount of money. If it's not catered for he will leave it, or it will stall the progress of completion. And when it happens, it's unemployment that rises. Government cannot obviously do it alone, right? So you need the private sector. So realizing that is a challenge. Government supports companies that come under 1D1F. So if you go under 1D1F, you enjoy free electricity connection.
Okay.
Then, I mean, make things flexible. So why don't we just come up with a policy that makes it easy for everybody, so that we can have more companies coming on? I mean, and cost of running their businesses will be lower.
This is dated the 25th of April 2024. Helen, if you have that, share the detail with us quickly.
All right, so it's a provisional quotation. Again, this is coming from the ECG. Installation of a dedicated...
It's to the managing director, Pro Afrique Limited.
Pro Afrique Limited.
The other one was to somebody at Laboni.
That's right. Okay, installation of a dedicated 500 kVA ground-mounted substation for Pro Afrique Limited at Weja, Botiano District. Reference is made to the above subject matter. Your request has been approved for implementation. The total cost of the project is 94,401 cedis 19 pesos, made up of 64,651 cedis and 9 pesos as your capital contribution. 12,167 cedis 5 pesos as VAT, 1,931 cedis 28 pesos as NHIL, and 1,931 cedis 28 pesos as Get Fund, and 12,600 cedis as metering, and 1,120 cedis 50 pesos as cost of excess power loss in the transformer provided by the applicant. However, your upfront payment of 10,000 Ghana cedis has been acknowledged. You are therefore required to pay an additional amount of 84,401 cedis and 19 pesos to enable us to process your application further. Kindly show your receipt to the accounts manager after payment for further action. This quotation is valid for 14 days with effect from the date of this letter, after which it can be affected by any new company directive as the case may be. Yours faithfully, Emmanuel Tete Akine, General Manager, Accra West, also CC'd in the Regional Engineer, Regional Accounts Manager, and the Regional Commercial Manager as well.
I have a receipt here that Awal shared with me, a Stanbic Bank receipt, transaction which is successful, 128,793 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos, paid to the Electricity Company of Ghana bank account, EcoBank account 144 100-165-9186. Transaction type ones of beneficiary, paid on the 16th of February. Val Real Estate, the guys at Laboni, they paid it. So they had to cough it out. You insist that this is extortion.
We think that is extortion. The 15% company charges, I mean, has been around for a long time. If we really want to support businesses to be able to grow and all, we think that it has to be relooked.
Right.
And then the 10%, what do we call contingency? It's unacceptable. I mean, we are all engineers. If you give me this building to estimate for you, there are things that may be unforeseen. It makes sense. But for items that can easily be assessed, I mean, why should you charge me 10% of the total cost of material as contingency?
Are you saying that the engineers at ECG know, but then they are still going ahead with this? What could be motivating them?
I mean, what makes it even interesting is that nobody accounts for it. I mean, reasonably contingency is an allocation made so that when something comes out,
some miscellaneous or something like that.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you tell the customer, "Oh, we charge you this for contingency. Nothing came up, so take back your money." It doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
So the contingency becomes then part of the build-up, and you fork it out and you give the money out, and that's it.
That's it.
But that's not how contingency works. Contingency is, for example, I've gone to hire a hall, right, for an event, and they say, okay, deposit X amount of money so that in the case of any damages, we will use that to defray that cost. If I finish my event and there's not been any damage to anything, you would have to refund that money back to me. But you say ECG doesn't do that?
It doesn't happen.
So that all goes straight to ECG's coffers.
It goes straight to ECG's coffers, and we find it to be.
What can be? What do you think? I mean, from your learnings on the ground, do you think is motivating ECG to charge all these monies?
You know, the truth is that there's no competition. In other jurisdictions, there are different distributors, and so they have marketing people who go around looking for businesses to render services to them. But ECG is a god on its own. Whether you like it, you go to them, and so they decide whether to connect you or not. They decide what to do. Nobody regulates them on what to do. Monopoly. So for us, we think that competition is good. If there's competition, it will get them to really manage look at their pricing again. Yes. Another interesting thing is, you see, when there are materials that they won't allow you to buy. When you complain, they say, oh, there are a lot of fake materials in the country. We say that ECG does not have, the only institution mandated by law to decide whether a product is good or not is the Standards Authority. And they are the same institution that certify products that you bring into the country. And the same people who supply you the materials are the same distributors in town. But you find that ECG prices is so high that for things that they force you to buy from them, the price is so high that you can't even, you can't understand what goes into their pricing. Today, this 500 kVA that you just like, you can even get it cheaper, less than 12,000, depending on where you are buying it from.
Right.
But they will tell you that, oh, that transformer may not be good and all that. But they are the same people who test and certify those transformers. I can show you
to bring them into
when it comes into the country. The only time you can connect any transformer on ECG network is when they have tested it and given you a test report.
They need to agree that it is fit for purpose to be connected onto their grid.
Yes.
So why then do they charge all these monies then?
That transformer, they would even charge you for losses. Every transformer will lose some amount of energy. So the losses that the transformer...
Yeah, I noticed that the loss of power in transport or something like that.
They will charge you, you pay for the losses. So if you bring a transformer that loses too much energy, you pay extra for that in addition to your actual energy consumption, because if the transformer loses energy, it means it will add to your actual consumption. So even before it is connected, you'll be penalized.
Well, do you think that the president will listen to you?
I mean, this time around, there's no choice. For us, we have a clear strategy. We've tried to make sense to ECG management, and they are not listening. They are not ready to even sit around the table to discuss it. And we know that the only person ECG respects in this country is the president. And we know that the president means well when he speaks about industrialization. So, I mean, there's no option. Unless the president is not interested in ensuring that the country industrializes, which we don't believe. And, I mean, there's no option. From here, we have a very clear-cut strategy on how to go.
Has he received the petition?
And so we are yet to respond, to get responses from all the institutions that we've
you listed under. So you're waiting for their responses, or failing which you would then go to the presidency.
Yes, please.
Okay. And when will that be?
And so it's as soon as possible. I mean, this week, I mean, this is obviously one of our strategies.
Right.
We're hoping that, I mean, they will listen and act before even we get to the next stage of our... If you don't, in the coming months, I tell you, we'll take our next step.
I hear you.
Yes, I just wanted to, and lastly as well, I saw in both the letters from ECG that if within 14 days you don't even make payments, just be aware that price can even change. They say subject to company directive. So for those who are even struggling to make payment, if you miss that 14-day window, you could go back and maybe be slapped with some more charges, isn't it?
Yes, that is.
But why is that the case? Is ECG operating some forex accounts that we don't know that fluctuations come? Because these are the engineers who are here, who are going to test the things, right?
Yeah.
So why the price change after 14 days?
I mean, for me, we think that if it was a situation where you are supplying materials, material prices changes with time, obviously.
That's right.
But these are situations where the person has procured everything. You are only rendering service.
Right.
And you are giving the person 14 days to pay, within which, I mean, the price is likely to change. Their prices changes when they adjust their material prices.
Right.
They have a system where they will put in all the material prices and all that. So once you have bought, they will put it in their system, and you need to calculate how much you should pay them.
Right.
So if they go and if you delay and they check again and it's gone up, you have to pay.
Well, I want to thank you very much indeed for your time. Any closing thoughts you want to share with us? I know that your association are very eager on getting this changed, things turned around, but what do you leave us with? So
for us, we say this is not a fight for GECA, it's a fight for the socio-economic development of Ghana. It can happen to Media General. If Media General's, your substation goes bad, God forbid, today, or you decide to expand, for which reason you may need a bigger capacity the transformer, you'll be forced to cough this money.
Right.
So it is to ensure that businesses, the burden on businesses are lessened, so that they can be productive, they will be able to make the needed revenue and pay the right taxes as well, and then so that the country, Ghana, will develop.
Does this apply to private residences, churches, everybody?
Nobody is exempt.
So if I set up my house and I say, I want a small 20 kV to be in my house so that it can support me when the lights go off. I'll pay.
Yes. You see, if you want reliable power, apart from your load,
10,000.
yes, apart from your load, if you really want reliable power, you definitely need your own private substation.
Right.
And so nobody is exempt. So we are calling on everybody, all meaning Ghanaians, to support this cause. It's not for us. Whether you like it or not, the job will come to us. We'll be the installers. But unfortunately, everybody is quiet. People are really struggling. I tell you, businesses are collapsing. See, electrical industry is a mega dollar business. People have imported products. ECG has banned private people from buying from private individuals, and so their products are stuck. Are stuck there. They can't sell. When you say ECG said the things are fake, and these are the same people who supply you. These are the same people who import what you but you are stopping them from selling their wares.
I'm not getting the story. Ajana 1, Ajana 2 is wow. Okay.
And this is why this dialogue is important, because for some of us who are not in that field, we're not privy to some of this. And then later on you get into business and you are shocked to your core because you never expected to pay this much money.
I'm now thinking of how businesses can stay afloat. You know, as you're saying, if they want to expand, you know. Well, thank you very much indeed. I wish you all the best. He's the president of the Ghana Electrical Contractors Association, and they are on a crusade to get ECG to tone down on how much it's charging for certain services so that at least businesses can stay afloat. And then the contractors will also not be, if you like, become targets for clients. Contractors will charge you too much, will charge you too much. They don't want that situation. It's 9 minutes after 9 here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. When we return from this break, we'll go straight now to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. A dialysis center there has been shut down. Why? We'll tell you.